Hello, everyone, and good morning. This is the first Tech in Asia event of 2022. My name is Daniel. I'm growth lead here at Tech in Asia, and I'll be your host for today's MAA. Our speaker today is one of Singapore's pioneering NFT creator, Alan Seng. He's a former Tech in Asia employee, and you'll see him wearing a beautiful Tech in Asia t-shirt that he's kept all those years. He's been keenly interested in crypto since 2017, so a while back now, and he sees huge growth potential in the GameFi space. That's game plus finance. He's now the founder of Dark Meta, developing Dark Zodiac. This is a 3D NFT art project inspired by the folklore of Chinese zodiac. So please welcome on stage Alan Seng. Hi, Alan. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Good morning to everyone watching like this EMA. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful t-shirt again.
Yeah.
I'm really jealous. I still haven't gotten mine, so I need to get down to the office and get one. Yeah. So everyone, by the way, this is as the name suggests, this is an MAA. So ask me anything. So please send us your question directly in the chat box. But maybe just to get us started, Alan, you can introduce yourself. Who are you, and how did you become an NFT trailblazer?
Yeah. So my name is Alan. The founder of Dark Meta. So Dark Meta is a parent company behind the NFT project Dark Zodiac. We started the project because we were looking at the NFT market at that time, and we felt that we wanted some form of like Asian representation, and it just so happened that we treated it as a side project. It's just a hobby, and then we built a community within a couple of months, and we did pretty well, I guess. And then we sold all NFTs in Series 1, and we've decided to continue in this project, on a full-time capacity. Yeah, so that's right. But I also, because of like the recent developments, and there were a lot of like corporate interest into launching NFTs. So we have actually set up Dark Meta as also an NFT studio to actually help brands launch NFTs with their IP. So we're sort of like an end-to-end, like a NFT studio right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of corporate interest in NFT. I mean, we've seen Nike making a big move. There are plenty of other corporates and obviously investors, VCs and others making big moves in the space. So I guess we'll get back to that with some of the questions. Maybe just to stay general as we start. What's the number one NFT myth that you'd like to debunk right away? Because as you were telling me before we started, you talk a lot about NFT with a lot of people of various levels of understanding and expertise. So yeah, what's the one question that comes back all the time, and maybe the one myth that you wanna dispel now?
That like buying NFTs and trading NFTs will definitely make you rich. So because obviously there's one topic that sometimes friends and family will definitely ask. They see like big headline like sales, maybe like certain NFTs that sells for millions of dollars, and they're asking me, how do you spot them before they reach $1 million, and that it would definitely make you rich, right? So I think that's a myth for sure, because I think collecting NFTs as a hobby it takes some form of like luck as well as understanding about like the NFT market. Of course, I do meet a lot of people who make a bit of money, but I think when you go into the NFT market, don't just like think about like how can I become a millionaire, how can I quit my day job, so I think that's a myth.
Too bad. I was hoping to get some great investment advice from you and quit Tech in Asia tomorrow thanks to my excellent investments. But yeah, that's all right. No worries. So I guess like to give us maybe a little bit of a view of the land of NFTs, because there is a lot of different NFT projects out there, and so that might be confusing to a certain extent. So the way I understand it, there is a subcategory that has been very, very active recently, which is the profile picture, all the profile picture NFTs, right? And then we have a lot of other NFT projects. So is that how you would categorize them? Do you see more categories? How should people think of the different NFT projects out there?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think right now, when it first started, that there seems to be some form of categories, right? So you have like profile picture, like projects, you have in-game assets, trading cards, so on and so forth. But I think as the industry progresses and the technology is being developed, I think into more utility, the lines start to blur, because what used to be just a profile photo kind of like project can now be also like an avatar in the metaverse kind of a virtual world. So the as the use case become a little bit broader for each project, maybe some of them are coming off a game. So for example, that's what we were exploring right now with Dark Zodiac. So it becomes a little bit like the lines become a bit blurry. And I think that is where, as a collector or as an investor, from that point of view, you kind of have to understand where that project is going. And obviously, because everyone can promise a certain like level of utility, um, uh, as an individual, you kind of have to assess yourself. What kind of project am I interested in? Like where how much space like can this like project go? And not every project is gonna like develop to its fullest potential, right? So you kind of have to weigh things all yourself and probably look at the development of the team, the track record, and things like that. So this up to your own like discretion. Yeah.
Right. And so do you have any advice for people who would want to do this sort of due diligence on projects that they want to invest in? Are there people in the space that they should follow, or are they like certain Discord servers that they should join? Yeah, what's your advice here?
Oh, this is gonna be such a good question. Because that if you are here in the industry for just a short period of time, you realize that there's a lot of noise in the industry, right? There's so many Discord servers to join. There are a lot of information like bouncing around. But I think like what I would advise a new person joining this industry would be that like join a few like servers where you genuinely want to spend time and effort to understand the project about, and then really spend time like conversing with the community, and also check out like the roadmap that the project is putting out, and then if you know who the team is behind the project. I think that's always a big bonus, because anonymous kind of team is usually a sort of like a point of risk. So usually, I'm not saying all of them, but like usually, if the team is not being identified publicly, it will always be, you never know who you're giving your money to. So if you know who the team is, you roughly know like their background, and like if they happen to work on some NFT project in the past, or they are like very very prominent in the NFT scene, you know for a fact that like that's a little bit of a confidence boost. Yeah. So but then again, like as all things go, like don't have to take it too seriously, right? Because like sometimes you never know, right? So I mean, like personal story, I look at Bored Ape Yacht Club in back in May, and I thought like, well, it's just a project, right? I didn't mean like any of the board apes, and that remains to be my like greatest regret to date.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we'll always miss a lot of all the opportunities we don't take in a way. But I guess watch and learn first before trying to make investments would be the recommendation. And maybe one of the big questions that comes in, or one of the obvious question, is going to be around regulation. So that's a question that we had coming in from Instagram earlier today. Without proper regulation of NFTs, how high is the risk of being abused and money laundering, etc.? So all of this is grouped together. So what do you see being the risk, I guess, of regulators coming in the space, as we have seen previously with crypto, and things changing rapidly in that way, and adding additional risks that way?
That's a good question. Obviously, it has gotten a little bit like more serious in tone right now. But yes, I do think like more regulations will be put in place. Exactly how, I'm not exactly sure. Like I've had I have quite a number of like conversations about this like recently, because it surrounds about like intellectual property. sometimes there are cases where the original artist of the NFT artwork is not being like compensated properly, and there have been like lawsuits about this. At the same time, there is also certain regulatory risks that occurs around wash trading of NFTs. I'm not saying that like NFTs are used for money laundering, but in some cases, it does portray itself as you look at suspicious trades and you realize that, hey, something doesn't feel right here. And we are in a very, very early stage in the NFT kind of development. I do see the current NFT space to be likened to like 2013 crypto space, right? There's a lot of growth, there's a lot of volatility, obviously a lot of hype as well. But very, very similarly, that is when, like, in the next few years, we should see more guidelines coming in. Obviously, it's gonna be quite a difficult time for creators, because we kind of want to like stay true to and stay on the safe side of like this regulations, right? But yeah, I do see like more tightening of measures between like the trading of NFTs, or the ownership of NFT will mean to a collector.
Okay. Interesting. So definitely still very early stage, which means unregulated, which means a high level of risk there. So as you were saying earlier, I think everyone should do their due diligence, watch and learn for a while before making investment, at least with money that they can't afford to lose.
Yep.
So still, before we move on to, because we have a few questions around how to build a company in the NFT space, etc., which is obviously very important for us at Tech in Asia. Maybe one more question that we have around investment, which is what are the factors for an NFT to sell well or be in demand? Since some of the NFT artwork subjectively might not be so cool looking for some people. So yeah. How should what do you think of this?
Oh, I think there are two key things that I think from a collector, because I for myself, I always look at myself as, first and foremost, I'm a collector, right? I'm a creator as well, but like I think the fun of collecting NFTs, I should always I encourage my team members to do it as well, right? It is to constantly enjoy the thrill of like collecting NFTs. How we sort of like assess what's going to be a good project is on these 2 points. The one is community. Of course, like it's not just about numbers. It's not just about who has the biggest community within the shortest period of time, but you can get a sense of the community and its engagement level by joining the Discord server and like chatting with people in the community, because there are certain mechanisms where maybe being active on Discord can get you, let's say, into a pre-sale of the NFT itself, right? So sometimes what happens in those scenarios is that you have a lot of people chatting for the sake of chatting, just like spamming conversations without actually engaging in actual conversation. So they will just be like randomly spamming like messages, and when that happens, it becomes a very busy, but like very, it's not a productive like community. The best communities I've been in, you can get a sense of that like through good conversations, where you have very healthy conversations about the roadmap of the project, and you get a lot of like good exchange between community members. So you number one is like engagement. Number two is like surrounding the roadmap and utility of the NFTs. So of course, back in 2017, you have like projects like CryptoPunks or Mooncat that are just collectibles. They don't do much. They don't promise a lot. But I think increasingly in 2021 and now going into 2022, projects are promising a lot more than just a collectible. So they might be promising a game. They might be promising like a 3D world kind of like avatar, or some form of utility in the real world case, like for example, like Board Your Club, as I previously mentioned. And it is a way to measure like how big this is gonna be. I think if I were to add on one more point other than like utility and the roadmap, it is partnerships. I think it matters because sometimes, getting that like endorsement from prominent people, whether it is a partnership with, let's say, like Nike or Adidas or any of the brands that really can give you that validation, and that they want to be part of what your company does. It really helps the likelihood of your roadmap succeeding as well.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So a question around this that comes from Project Kinchan, which is, what are some of the other business use case that you see for NFT? How can business approach this technology, and what do you see potential developments being in the future beyond a virtual Nike shoe?
Yes. So as Project Kinchan has mentioned, of course, like digital wearable will be a key utility. I think we must accept, as far as it's right now it's intangible, right? There will come a point in time where we will accept 3D virtual world and the metaverse as part of our reality. So as much as this is real, like between you and me on this Zoom call, is real. So one day we might be hanging out in communities like in our avatar, 3D avatar, wearing like digital Nike sneakers and digital like Gucci bags, I guess. That is real to many of the sort of the newer generation as well. So I think digital wearable is no less like a real utility. But of course, if you want to look at real world like business case, there are a couple that obviously are quite prominent at the moment. One of them is event ticketing. So whether it is a virtual event or physical event, so online to online, online to offline, NFTs can be a way to prove of ownership, like of a digital ticket, right? So you probably get some redemption, or you get into like a private exclusive like community, or like a event. Event can go anywhere between a secret meetup all the way to like maybe it's concert ticket. So it really depends on how you approach things. We are in a very, very early stage. Of course, we have thought about the implementation of all this, and of course we have like thought of bottlenecks as well. So like, what if using it as an event ticket is just inefficient because gas fees are so high, right? So but as time goes, I think all these use cases will be normalized, I guess. So other event tickets, I'm going to quickly like cover a couple. I think having them as music collectibles, art collectibles, those are definitely like one. You can have it as a ownership or proof of ownership in a DAO, which is like a decentralized autonomous organization. So you have sort of like decentralized governance within let's say surrounding a particular subject, right? So you can have that kind of like use case. What else? I think that is pretty much it. Yeah.
Or anything that people can think of. I think as you're saying, we're still in the very early stage of the industry, so there might be plenty of our business cases that come in the future and that we just haven't thought about yet, which is very exciting,
100%.
right?
Yeah, 100%.
So maybe on this topic of being an entrepreneur and developing a company and in a new industry, what do you think is the difference between building an NFT company and building a general startup? That's a question that we had coming in from the chat.
So difference between sort of like NFT company and a general startup. Here's the similarity and the differences. The similarity is that you do still need to have like product market fit. So whether you're building a collectible project or whether you're building something with utility, getting your initial users is the process is similar. You come up with like a plan, like a pitch, right? In this case, a pitch is our roadmap, right? And you kind of have like the design of the product, and you grow your community there, right? And that is how I will measure like how it's similar. But like the different thing is this, like I think most startups start locally, then they expand like regionally, and then their final stage is globally, right? Case in point, I mean basically just every startup ever. But in the NFT space, there is not a lot of like very strong concepts about like geographical location. So from day one that you have started, like you have intended to start like a Discord server, you need to know that you're not like catering to a local crowd anymore, right? We started out as Dark Zodiac wanting to represent some form of Asian culture, but we knew for a fact that from day one, there are people from US, UK, Europe, Australia, and these people are just eager to find out more about like what the Chinese zodiac is about, and like the little story that we spin. So, and actually some of our biggest collectors are not Asians. So I think that's to us is really cool. So the difference is that you need to be aware that to account for cultural differences, to account for different time zones, the NFT market doesn't sleep, right? And lastly, I think the key difference between an NFT project of our company versus a startup company is that whatever you put out on chain is going to be there forever. So if you it's not like a design that you put on Facebook or it's like just a social post, right? You can delete it anytime. Whatever you put on chain stays there forever as long as the blockchain remains. So always put out your best work, I guess.
Yep. That sets the bar high, but it's really interesting. Okay, a question which is linked to this, and I think that we've been dancing around for a while, which is a question from Christine that we received. How important is community building for an NFT project?
So important. And community building. I had this conversation not too long ago. I think when I was at Tech in Asia, we focused a lot about community, and that's a great thing, because like a lot of companies are like, if I can term it right, like Web 2.0 versus Web 3.0, a lot of people don't really understand what community building is. They may see community building somewhere along the lines, like a bloodline between customer service and marketing, right? They do not really know like who they're trying to build the community around, and so you do only see a couple of very successful community building examples, right, in the like traditional like tech startup space. But within the Web3 space, whether you're doing NFT or DeFi or whatever it is, community building is very, very important, and you will be able to understand the difference between community building and customer service. It's definitely not the same thing, right? And for community building, it is both an art and a science. You can't really put a finger to say like this is how you should do it. Every project does it differently. Some have a very hands-on approach, some has a very hands-off approach. Some people like the fact that you are in around. It gives you a cool vibe to hang around in the Discord server, or like on their social media profiles or at their AMAs. Some has a very homely vibe. It's more like a family and a culture that the entire community creates. And what is most important is that you keep the community genuinely engaged. It's not just about chasing that pre-sale or like dangling freebies in front of them, but like if you wake up every morning and you feel the urge to just go into the community and say hi to everyone, to wish them good morning, that is a very encouraging sign. Long story short, community building, the most important thing you can do in an NFT project.
Okay, great. Another question we have from Manao Lo, I hope I pronounced this correctly. How long did it take you from preparation until the launch of your NFTs? Second question, how do you generate an audience and sell out immediately, as you've famously done? And what are some of the KPIs that you look for overall as you build a project?
Okay, how long it took? My first meeting with the team was on 30th of April. We started building the art. We built the tech in-house, and then we dealt with the marketing as well as like community building. All in all, it took us about 4.5 months there about. Yeah. So early May all the way to mid-September. So that's about 4.5 months if my math is right. What kind of like metrics would I looking for? I think to some extent you can use the size of the community as a proxy. So versus your NFT like collection size. So some projects have 10,000 NFTs. and you kind of have to understand that there is a certain ratio to like unique holders to collection size. So generally speaking, I think if you look around the different NFT projects, a healthy number is anywhere between like half. Sorry, let me phrase this properly. Your number of unique holders should be half of your collection size, meaning each unique holder holds about two to three, right? And so you know that you require, let's say, 5,000 unique buyers for a 10,000 like collection. Then you kind of have to like kind of work backwards, right? Like, do I need if I have only 10,000 people in my Discord server, am I gonna like make it? That's assuming that like half the people actually go and buy your NFTs. So if you make that kind of like conversion stats, you roughly get the idea. For us, it was a rather small collection. It's 3,876, and so we had at the sale we had about 12,000 people. So we felt that we had a pretty good chance of selling out. And our community was like, we spent a lot of time with them, and we genuinely felt like that was a genuine sense of like engagement. So we decided to just go for it. You never really know when you're ready. You just launch and see what happens.
Right. Okay, I mean, it's supply and demand problem to a certain extent, right? Because we're trading like limited NFTs, so there is a limited number of them, and they're all unique in that way. So yeah. Okay, yeah. A question that comes from Terence Lee, our editor-in-chief. So it's about building community, but how do you go about getting your first 100 or 1,000 community members?
Oh, that's such a good question, because like it's so hard, right? So I've been speaking to new NFT creators and like from Singapore, and the common problem is like, how do you get to your first 1,000 like community members? I think like this comes very natural for me because like of my marketing background. I think it's always going to be difficult, but if you know the right things to do, the right campaigns to run, you can pretty easily get your first 1,000 members. So I think a very common tactic.
What are those tactics that you would use? Is it about going on Reddit? That's another question that we had coming in, which is how do you get started? Is it from Reddit, moving to Discord?
Twitter is gonna be like your first stop. So obviously setting up a Discord server will be the first step, and then setting up Twitter account. These two platforms are like most generally used by NFT collectors, and the first few like common tactics that you can try out is doing like giveaways. So if you have the NFT design, it's great to showcase the NFT designs on Twitter, and like you can do like a quick like retweet giveaway for your like your followers. And of course, engaging crypto influencers or NFT influencers is not a bad idea. Of course, like this is like you have to do your own discretion. We have seen like many scams where fake crypto or NFT influencers actually take money, but they actually like do not promote it for you. But like just look for the ones that you can trust. Or look for the ones with like genuine engagement on their page, like where actually they are engaging with their own fans. So getting influencers is definitely a easy way to get started. Lastly, I think partnering with other NFT projects is actually not too bad. So any point of time, many NFT projects are looking to launch. If you can find one that is of like as new as you, right? You guys can do like a cross collaboration where you give away each other's like NFTs to your audience. So it's always gonna be a difficult time to grow your first 1,000 community members, but if you find the right people to promote it for you and run some giveaway campaigns, you should be able to get it.
Yeah, I think it sounds like we come back to all this community that we were talking about, right? Participate in the community, understand who's interested in what sort of project, contact those people, reach out to get them on board with your project, because they will understand what you're trying to do, and turn them into influencers that will then recruit the others, right? So
yes.
Okay, interesting. A question very practical that comes in from Terence again. what are some tools for NFT creators to give airdrops and other benefits, exclusive meetups and other perks to NFT holders? Or
that's gonna be
is there no tools and is it all done manually?
that's gonna be a tough one. I'm pretty sure there are tools out there. I personally I haven't seen one yet that is like reliable. So of course, like this is a very interesting thing because at Dark Meta for our NFT studio, we do observe like being in the NFT space, we do observe certain like product gaps, and maybe this is a tool that we could build for people. But so far, I think because of the unique use case that depending on the redemption of like what kind of perks that you're looking for, right? So it becomes very, very customized to the use case itself. So right now, I don't think if it's dropping like the tokens, it's fairly simple. Like most, you can do it via smart contract. But if let's say the perks is, let's say, a subscription to Tech in Asia, or it can be like an exclusive meetup in real life, I think it's all going to be a unique flow. So I haven't seen, but if anyone has like in the Tech in Asia audience working on this, or you guys have seen it before, do let me know. I just haven't seen it yet.
All right, great. Yeah, so again, something that still needs to be built. It's the early days, and so actually we have another workshop coming up on the 10th of February, where we'll go a lot more into the infrastructure around NFT and all the
Nice.
this technology. Yep. So do stay tuned. This is a subscribers only event, so I'll get back to that at the end. But this is a great way to support Tech in Asia as well. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Another question that we have, which is, okay, let's say now you've built your community, you have your 100 first or your 1,000 first people, you figured out how many you need to launch your project. So you have this ratio of 2 for 1. Now the project is sold out. So this is a question that we have coming out from Project Inchan. You've launched a project, everything is sold. What happens next? Do the NFT just become assets in the marketplace, or are there some governance and upkeep and further marketing works to do? And I'll link this with another question from Lawrence Long. How do you engage your existing collectors after your NFT launch?
Yeah, I think this is where it becomes a bit like a traditional startup, right? And the collectors become your stakeholders. Because they are the one who actually invested money in the project, because they like your pitch, they like your roadmap, and instead of having VCs, now you have to answer to like the NFT holders. So we've seen like many different projects, and I think that what is in common is that like right after the sale, it definitely get to work and show them that things are happening, things are like whatever you've set out to build, whether it is digital wearables all the way to or you're setting up a DAO or you're setting up a game. This is the things that we want to show the holders that we're doing it. Even if it's just merchandise, we're just preparing merchandise, or like the design of it, we will actually show the community. The worst thing is like to completely go radio silence right after the sale, because that's usually like a really, really bad sign. Or like have the team members like show holiday pictures. Bad thing to do, right? So that's usually what we do after the sale. And I guess I just continue building it, because as much as they are just assets, they are also just, I mean, you are buying into a promise that you'll be much like big part of a bigger project in the future. So make sure you continue to do marketing and get like more people to hear about it. So it's not just communicating to your existing NFT holders, it's also continue to get your word out there about like your project in for people who have never heard of you. For us, like that's something that we've always prioritized. And yeah, I think that's something that I will share to the community.
So yeah, once more, just keep building your community, work on the next project, and try to find ways to engage the community. Obviously, don't go radio silent as soon as you sold out, because
exactly.
That's when you're building a community. It's not to stop the moments that you've made money out of this community. You want to keep contributing and supporting the communities in new ways, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Okay, another question, maybe coming back to people who are interested in the space, but again, are not too sure where to start. So we've mentioned Discord, joining Discord servers earlier, Twitter, but practically, who should I follow? Is there like a Medium post that I should read? Do you have any practical advice? Should people follow you maybe? I mean, I saw that you tweeted recently, or you retweeted an interesting thread on Twitter on where to get started and some of the differences in the NFT world. So just yeah, curious. Do you have a few recommendations of where to get started?
That's a very good one, because I haven't been subscribing to like any very quality kind of NFT publication or some sort of resource. But I'm sure you can find those resources online. Let me think off the top of my head.
Well, Tech in Asia we wrote
Yeah.
recently an article around the NFT creators in Singapore and Southeast Asia. That should be followed. So this is obviously one to start from. Find those people and follow them and maybe engage with them directly. I think one thing that we see in this community that people are very open to engaging with others. I mean, it's normal for when you're talking of community, obviously. So I think don't hesitate to reach out to people and ask questions.
Yes, 100%. I think don't everyone, even like influencers, will claim to know all about project, but like sometimes there will be rumors, sometimes there will be because it's just such a hype based kind of like industry right now. So you have a lot of noise. You have to exercise your own discretion to differentiate the signal from the noise. Feel free to like reach out to creators to kind of ask for their opinion or get them to guide you along. There are certain smaller. I mean, like when I right before I started Dark Zodiac, a couple of like creators from NTU. They're like university students. They actually reach out to me and we form like a little tiny support group for them to learn how to like mint their own NFTs like for their work. And so always reach out to the people you can trust. If you want to learn more about NFTs, you can like read Tech in Asia. I'm pretty sure there are like other more credible, as in like more credible publications out there that you can read. If you search on like YouTube videos on NFTs, just make sure it's not just about like making you rich. If they talk so much about this is gonna make you rich, this is gonna make you rich, chances are they've already been paid for those like to produce those videos. And I think focus on the ones that really explains to you the concept and how to probably assess an NFT project like from a very objective angle. Yeah, I'm sure the audience here are like this really discerning enough to understand the difference. So I'm not so worried.
Right. Okay, interesting. By the way, I think I'm reminded that Tech in Asia is looking for a blockchain/metaverse journalist. So if anyone feels like, oh, this is clearly a gap that we've identified, there is no starter guide, there is not enough reporting on this industry, well, please come and join Tech in Asia. Apply on the websites, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
A question that sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, obviously. If I could write proper English, I would probably apply myself. A question we have coming on from Lee Young. So what are some interesting NFT projects from Singapore now? So you mentioned this project from NTU students. Are there some other projects that you're particularly looking at the moment?
Of course, like special shout out to Uninterested Unicorns. They were probably the first in Singapore. It's always amazing to see other like NFT collectible projects like launch in Singapore. And so Uninterested Unicorns is one. I think there is one other project called Toasties, and it's by another Singaporean. So I think there are more and more NFT projects coming out in Singapore. It's just that, like, there's just too many for me to keep track of it, and honestly, I don't think I remember a lot of them, because just busy building. So yeah, not a lot that I know of. Yeah, but
Fair
yeah,
enough.
uninterested unicorns probably, yeah, more interesting ones.
Okay, nice. Okay, I think it's about time to wrap up. We've extended a little bit this session because there were so many interesting questions coming in. Is there one more thing that you want to say to everyone before we go off?
Yeah, I think for whether you're like approaching this from like a brand perspective, let's say you run a startup, or you want to start a NFT like company, don't rush into it. Like, find the right people, find the right talents, and smart contract developers. You cannot rush like an NFT project. So take it slow. Make sure you find the right artists, make sure you find the right engineers. I think it's and take your time to build the community, right? But if you are here listening to this AMA from a collector's point of view, and you just like want to have fun, also same thing, take your time. Sometimes it feels like you're running out of time, and you are spending, next thing you know, you're spending 20 hours on Discord servers, right? But never FOMO. Take our time to identify like projects, and be very, very sure you are only like spending money that you can afford to lose. It's never gonna just make you rich overnight. And just do your research. Yeah. So whatever I say is no financial advice.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well noted. Just a quick follow-up question from Lee Young, who says is also from NTU, and is there a support group you can join?
Yeah, probably just reach out to me on Twitter. I'll just add you in. It's all good.
All right, sounds good. Well,
Yeah,
thank you
it's
very
a very
much.
small group. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank
Really
you,
appreciate your time today and all these great answers that you gave. And I think, yeah, as you just mentioned, people can reach out to you on Twitter if they have more questions in the future.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a wrap up for this edition of MAA with Alan Seng. On NFTs, we have another NFT event coming up, as we mentioned earlier, which is called What NFTs Mean to Startups in Southeast Asia. This will be on the 10th of February next month. This is a subscribers only event. So in order to get access to this event, you need to get a Tech in Asia subscription, which will give you also access to all of the reporting that we do, in particular the premium articles. So those are long, in-depth articles about everything from e-commerce, fintech, edtech, and and all the trends that are happening in the region. And this will help you understand, everything that is tech related in Southeast Asia. So very much a useful subscription to have if you are working in tech in the region. All right. Well, thank you very much, and have a very good day.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.